All right. Welcome to Won't Be Boring magazine. We've upgraded today to a microphone, so hopefully the audio is better. I'm here with
Weiland.
and we're talking about how psychology intertwines into poetry.
So my name is Weiland. I am currently in downtown Minneapolis. I traveled actually kind of a long way to be here, and it's been quite an adventure, so maybe we can talk about that a little bit more.
Did you start going to school for psychology in Minneapolis, or did you start in Michigan?
So no, I am not a Minnesota resident. Actually, I am now. I've been here for like 2 years, coming on 2 years. But I got my undergrad from Northern Michigan University. It's a little public university in the UP. If you guys know what the UP is, it's the upper portion of Michigan. I started out as a psych major, but I decided that I also wanted to study English because writing has always been one of my passions, and I was fortunately able to do that, and I double majored in psychology with a concentration in brain and behavior, but I also qualified to have a dual concentration in clinical work as well, and then I majored in English with a concentration in creative writing.
So doing it all.
Yeah, and I did brain cancer research and post-traumatic stress disorder research and ketamine research, so I've kind of been all over the place. Oh, and I did research for a theater festival once, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
My first question for you is, how do you think your background in psychology informs your poetry?
I mean, it does and it doesn't. I think my background in psychology informs me. Yeah, and it informs me. It's really... So, I've been taking graduate classes for like 2 years, and I found out that everything that I knew about psychology was pretty much wrong. and the way I think is just... It's not inherently wrong. It's more or less kind of been challenged. I think I look at the world through like a different lens now. Okay. I just view myself as like one of the working parts.
Yeah.
Like, I always say like
a little character.
yeah, like kind of, I wouldn't say living in third person. I felt like that before in my life though, but just being a person who's lived through like traumatic experiences, and then having like the dual complexity of being like psychologically informed, or like in a position to become psychologically informed, has really kind of manifested into, I guess, the person I am now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good answer. Psychology informs you.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So you made this book.
I did.
Let's show it off. Psychology of a Ghost. Okay, this is a poetry book. A poetry book made over years, right?
Over like 6 years, yeah.
Yeah, so this is all of the work brought up into one big book. And it's amazing. How many pages is this?
There's like 160 pages, but there's 155 poems, I think.
Okay. Hell yeah. Okay, so do you think that writing poetry helps you process your own emotions or experiences differently than traditional methods?
For me, I think it's been like my outlet for post-traumatic growth. Okay. So that's kind of a term we talk about in psychology that's related to trauma. How do we grow through our experiences, and it was just hard for me to talk about like a lot of the shit that happened growing up. There are some secrets I kept for years, and I said I'd never tell anybody some of the things that I wrote in this book, and then like I had it all over like my art page on Instagram, and then my actual Instagram, and then like just sharing it in every platform, like always trying to get my friends to listen to my poetry and tell me like what they thought about it. Like I just wanted to fucking feel something, and I wrote it. And a lot of these poems, like I could probably tell you where I was exactly when I wrote them and what I was going through at the time, and some of it's fucking terrible, that's like the best way I can describe it. Like I had to keep most of the censored shit like not in the book, because I had to remember like my colleagues are gonna maybe one day read this, or like my friends or my parents, and it was important for me to remain like authentic though, like in the sense of doing that, so it's like not censored, and people always tell me like they're so excited to read it, and it's crazy because it's just really fucked up. It's just really it's just a fucked up story altogether. But I think like with psychology though, what I've learned is you have to be genuine with the people you're working with, because things just have to come from like an authentic place. Yeah. If I were to just like speak a bunch of fucking bullshit, the magic of therapy wouldn't work.
Right.
Because we both
not actually getting to the root of the problem.
No, and it's more than that too. In therapy, one of the most important common factors is the therapeutic alliance. So it's like how real you are with your clients.
Yeah.
Like you've had those friends where like you didn't understand why everybody liked them so much because you could just see through their bullshit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that, but with like a therapist. Yeah. Like imagine if you paid me a bunch of money and you came into my office, you had a 6-month wait time to see me, and I was just like, how does that make you feel?
Right.
You're such a strong young woman for everything that you've been through. Like, imagine if I just validated all of your experiences for the sake of being nice, or like trying to make you like me.
Instead of actually like digging deep into the authenticity of it and realizing like, okay, this is something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, you're strong, like, but you also went through a lot of fucked up shit.
Right, like making you like sit with that discomfort.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what poetry makes me do.
Yeah.
Because it's like
actually dig deeper.
Right. It actually allows me to like take the time, go sit by myself somewhere and write out the things that like I can't say.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really helped me become, you know, also in psychology, there's like a theory that suggests we have a hierarchy of needs. And once your needs at the bottom have been met, your basic ones, like, you know, like food, shelter, like your health, like communication, you can get to the top, and that's like the period of like self-actualization. It's like identity. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think I have been able to do that through psych. And
that's cool.
It's cool, but
but it's also a lot.
It is also a lot too, because I still have to live with these experiences. Yeah. It's not like just because I have a book that I'm in some fucking magical place. Like I actually probably paid more money to print them than I made.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about that. No, it was about getting it out. Right. And I never want to project to the world that I'm like this perfect person, you know. Yeah. I'm doing the things I'm doing at like such a young age, and I recognize that that's like an accomplishment in its own, but like that's not why I'm here.
How do you think your understanding of the mind shapes the way that you write poetry? Do you think that it makes a big difference that you have this background knowledge in psychology and therapy and all this, and to help you create more, I don't know, like cohesive poetry pieces?
It helps me sit more comfortably with myself and like sit in that discomfort that I was telling you about. And I also know now that I shouldn't censor myself from the world.
Yeah?
And I think I did that for a really long time, and it's easy to do that because if you're vulnerable with everybody you meet, they can take things from you that actually matter.
Yeah.
And it was important for me definitely to like write my life in the book because, you know, most of my friends are from Michigan.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen most of the people that I went to high school with since I went to high school. And every time I talk to one of them, like through social media or whatever, it's always like, oh, you're doing so good. Yeah. Like, you look like you're so happy, like doing all these crazy things. And in my world, I'm like fucking stuck.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're like, it's what you portray to people,
right.
But it's not necessarily the truth.
No. And like, I don't even try to portray it though. It's like, I'm so real all the time. Like, yeah. My dad asked me why I like posted my bank account online that had $2 in it, and he was like, why would you tell people you don't have money? And it's like, why does it fucking matter? Yeah. If I had money, are you gonna think of me any differently if I have like $20,000 in my bank account versus if I have two? You know, like you gotta learn to be uncomfortable. And I'm so happy that like what my education has informed me of is that I'm pretty honestly kind of insignificant. Everyone is so far into their own heads that we hardly even notice each other, and I'm spending so much time worried about like what these people think of me, like what will my future boss think of me, what will my friends think of me, like my colleagues, whatever, but they're thinking about like themselves.
Yeah. Most people are not worried about
other
people.
No.
Like, you're worried about what other people think about you, not about them specifically.
Yeah.
You're worried about their view and their perspective
Right.
too.
Right.
And that's exactly how everybody else
Like,
feels.
can you look at me and tell me what my biggest insecurity is?
What do people think of you?
No, exactly. That's not even
Like,
my biggest insecurity.
exactly.
Exactly, because
That's my perspective, not
right,
yours.
right. And
So,
think about like there's an infinite number of perspectives. Like that's
know,
just
literally.
that's
It's
just
just
how
crazy.
the brain works, you know. It's a very complex, beautiful thing that we hardly know anything about. Like think about how much science has advanced in like the past 40 years. Like we
Yeah.
were still giving fucking lobotomies in the 80s.
that's so crazy to think about.
Right.
Not even.
Oh, so there's this thing in psychoanalysis, I think it's called free association sometimes, where you just like give a client something to write on and you're like just write whatever comes to mind. I've done that before and it's just some weird shit. Yeah, it's just like I was thinking about oranges. I wrote about oranges.
Just what's in your brain at the moment.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool though, and psychoanalysis has a lot of ties to like the unconscious,
Yeah.
like your subconscious, and that's kind of what it explores. But I don't know, I've written so much, you know, I filled fucking notebooks. I got a Google Doc with like
Just
200
notes and
fucking
pages.
different pages of just nonsense. And then if you like really go and look at my shit, like my handwriting, like you could tell maybe if I was like fucked up or if I was tired. Yeah.
just The way that you write is different.
Oh, definitely. Like my handwriting is different, and it's crazy just to see like the shift in 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
see
writing.
Do you think that it's grown? Like, do you think that it makes more sense now because you kind of can condense your thoughts down a little bit better, or do you think it got more crazy after you learned more about psychology?
It kind of flows with the timeline of my life. Like when I was in I guess I'm in my mid-20s now, but when I was like a teenager and I really started picking up poetry, I was in like a good place. I'd just moved to like a cool ass fucking like beach town. I had made a bunch of friends. I was having fun all the time, you know, classes were easy, and I kind of just had like no like engagements or responsibility, and it was pretty lighthearted, you know. And then throughout time, as like my life started to shift and things got a little bit more serious, you can kind of like see that indicative with my work. And it was I was honestly a better writer when I was like 20 to 21.
Yeah.
I'd say like those writings from that time period are some of my favorite because I was going through like a lot of existential change, and that's when like I went to like a mental hospital. I was in a mental hospital for trying to kill myself, and I was there for like a week, and I seen some shit, and once I like kind of snapped out of it and I like went back home, and I was like, okay, I get to like decide now like if I want to keep going or not.
Yeah.
And
Which way to go after this?
right. And I really like what I do, so it was kind of always like the end goal. Like I never changed my major or anything. Like I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and like I beat a lot of fucking statistics to do it. So I would
True.
definitely say that like that informs a lot of my writing.
Yeah.
Like I have to write. Like I have to like a lot of the people who I know grew up like me and like share like similar traumatic experiences as I like didn't get to live past a certain age to like talk about it.
They just
Yeah, like most of my friends that I used to hang out with from my hometown are like in fucking prison or like on fentanyl, pretty bad, or like weren't given the same opportunities as I, and it's really sad because I'm not even like in my class. I was far from like the smartest, you know, and it's crazy that I get to be the one to like talk about
to say something about it.
Yeah.
So you got to get the opportunities to
Right.
grow from the shitty experiences.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to.
Yeah. Obviously, growth is not linear.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're
yeah.
never going to be fully healed
Right.
from anything.
Right. And sometimes growth looks like this.
Yes.
I actually have a poem that talks about this.
Yeah.
It, like I
What page is it on? Can we find
can't.
it?
I don't even have a fucking page.
They're not even
But
numbered.
numbered, whatever.
I don't have them paged.
They're not paged. But no, you actually like think about it. This is my plant metaphor.
Yeah.
Plants.
Plants.
You ever seen one?
Yeah.
All right.
Once or twice in my life.
What's your favorite plant?
Probably monsteras.
I don't even know it.
Giant leaves. They got like huge leaves.
All right.
Not really necessary.
But plants like need to grow into the ground
right.
before they come up and like
You got roots down there.
right. You gotta fucking establish yourself,
Yeah.
and sometimes like that's not going to be pretty.
True. Sometimes, well, have you, like, look at the roots of a plant. They're
Right.
always messy and tangled up and, like,
No,
they're
that's
never,
great.
like, grown out, right?
Right.
It's always a mess.
Right.
But the plant is fucking beautiful.
Right, and if you take the time to like water the plant and give it like the nutrients it needs to come out in the sun, like follow natural cycles, you can see wonders. You know, sometimes the most simplest.
How do you think language can both heal and obscure emotion? This is a little bit of a different question, but
Doesn't really encapsulate emotions.
No.
Because I'm gonna describe like melancholy, for instance, which is like a key feature of depression,
yeah.
differently than like how you're gonna describe it.
Right.
And you can teach me new ways to like add to my understanding of what it is, or like you can confuse me.
Right.
No, and you can do both.
Like, my sadness is different than your sadness.
Oh, of
because we have
course.
very different brains, which I
Right.
think is really cool.
Right, and even like twin studies, for instance, that's a way we study like the etiology of some disorders. If two twins are exposed to the same stressors, grew up in the same environment, there's still like different chances of heritability for like one twin developing a disorder versus the other. Like they both don't necessarily have to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
It can just hit them differently.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting because I also, like, my sister and I went through all the same shit together. We had a lot of the same, like, experiences. Obviously a little different because I'm older, she's younger,
Yeah.
whatever. But I find it really interesting that, like, we took it so differently.
Yeah.
Even going through the same shit. I just,
Right.
that's insane. So I
Right.
can imagine a twin also, like,
Yeah.
literally the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Can have all the same, exposed to all the same shit, and just completely different.
Yeah. So
Like, my sister struggles a lot with, like, anxiety and depression, and I don't, like, at all, which I think is so weird, because I should.
lucky.
I know, and I'm very lucky, I'm very grateful for it, but, like, it's so weird, because she'll be coming to me, like, oh, this is, like, oh my god, I'm so stressed out, I'm so anxious, I'm so depressed, I'm like, I literally don't know how to help you,
Yeah.
because I've never experienced it in that, you know, volume,
Yeah.
like you are, but that's really weird. I guess I didn't think about twins.
Right,
That's
right.
kinda cool.
Yeah, that's how they study a lot of different like things about human science
Yeah,
is through
that
twin
makes sense.
studies. Yeah.
Huh.
Actually, let's talk about trauma a little bit. So
Let's do it.
the definition of trauma is anything that overwhelms your ability to cope.
Okay.
Yeah. So you and your sister, for instance, let's use you guys as an example. You guys went through the same thing.
Yeah.
But you had the coping strategies, the tools and mechanisms, the willpower. I'm not saying she doesn't have willpower, but
No,
you
right.
had like the perfect cocktail of protective factors.
Yeah.
And like what works for one person isn't going to work for another. Like in psychology, we'd never just put a client in a box.
Yeah.
You know, so my modality is like person-centered, kind of existential.
Okay.
But if I was having a conversation with somebody who is a very just clear and logical thinker, I'm probably not gonna go all existential on them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If they need logic.
Right. I'm gonna try to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
You have to conform to the world around you, because if you're just so rigid in this little bubble for your entire life, you're gonna deflect people and people information, and they try to.
When I try to give you new
Yeah.
information, it's like, no, I already know this.
Yeah.
That's
no.
kind of how I am. I'm a very logical thinker.
I mean, but it's gotten you this far, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you stick to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you that that's the wrong way of thinking.
Right.
Right. No, that's actually great. If that works for you, then fuck yeah, it
If
works
that's
for
the
you.
protective thing that I had in my brain to get me
Right.
through all that shit and came out on the other side like this,
Right.
then yeah.
Like, we don't need to think the same way.
Right.
But what we do need to do is respect each other for having a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I think this is so cool, because I'm like, your brain is so much different than mine in the way that, well, also the things that you've learned, obviously, from going to school for this, and also your experiences, obviously, are way different than mine. So I find that really interesting. Yeah.
I think that the first couple years after you graduate high school or whatever you did, you graduated, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Barely,
matter.
but yeah.
But me too. But I think those are some of the most transformative. You know, because you are stepping away from like all these norms and customs and like a strict, like kind of rigid routine,
Yeah.
and then into adulthood. So you're like a 2-year-old adult right now. How does it feel?
It feels great. I feel like I'm a 20. I feel like I'm a 15-year-old adult though.
You feel like you're 15? Yeah. And I mean, sometimes they say in psychology, I've heard, there's a couple of theories that suggest this, but a part of you remains the age you are when you went through trauma.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I've heard this used in practice before. I don't necessarily like this all the time because this holds the assumption that you can't get through things,
right.
kind of.
That it kind of makes you stuck in that bubble and you don't have to.
Right, and like, I've seen it used, like, weaponized. People don't know how to hold themselves accountable because of trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you have to manage your shit, man.
Yeah.
And that is something I learned really quick, is that you have to have a responsibility about your trauma, because when I was younger, I went around and I hurt so many people.
Me too.
So many people, just because I was hurting.
Yeah.
And
you don't realize that, like, you're hurting other people just because you're hurting.
Right. And
I
it's
feel
just
like once you have that assumption, or that, not assumption, but realization of, like, holy shit, I've been hurting people this whole time and I didn't even notice because I was so far in the dumps in my brain that, like, I didn't care if I hurt the people in my path. I think that's really, once you hit that realization of it, I think that's a really cool spot to be in, because I recently just hit that where I was like, whoa, I hurt all those people and I didn't even mean to. And it wasn't, like, obviously on purpose, but it's just something that happened because I was so focused on getting through the shitty trauma that I was like, I don't know what else to do.
And you're a pretty creative person yourself. Do you feel like what you've been through informs, like, the energy you use to create?
I would say kind of. It depends. I think mostly what I would say is that my creative side of my brain mostly comes out in the fact of do whatever you want.
So you value your autonomy because it's the only it's a strength you were forced to have.
Exactly. I value my ability to do whatever I want, and also, like, again, with the, like, maturing and becoming a 2-year-old adult, I've noticed that I have a lot more free will than I thought I did, because I can do whatever I want. Right now, here I am, like, making this magazine and fucking doing interviews, which is super cool.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But I would say in that way, yeah, it definitely informs my creativeness.
Yeah, I think I carry with me, like, a lot of spite.
Yeah.
And that's a fault of mine, probably, as much as
spite is the best
motivator. It's a strength, yeah. I grew up and I had so many the idea was everyone was like, you're just gonna get pregnant and be a teen mom, drop out of, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but
they just assumed that's what
they assumed, like, my dad was like, you better wait till you're out of school to, like, start having kids, and I was like, what the fuck, I don't even want kids. Like, what? And my brother and his friends made a bet that I'd be the first one to, like, drop out of school and get pregnant.
Oh my God.
Like, nobody ever talked to me about going to school. My guidance counselor didn't even tell me about the loans that, like, paid for my undergrad.
Because they just didn't think you were going to
No,
school?
they told me I couldn't handle to take an AP level English class, and meanwhile I was fucking homeless, you know, like, driving 45 minutes, sleeping on couches just to go to school in the morning, and I almost didn't graduate either. But nobody took the time to ask me, like, what was going on. They just seen what was, like, happening in paper and in class, and of course I was fucking acting out. Yeah, of course, I was wearing fucking dirty clothes, like, getting a couple hours of sleep, sleeping in a camper, trying to fucking graduate high school, you know, and nobody ever in my entire life thought that I would get here, and now I'm gonna be a fucking doctor before I'm 30, so, and I think, I think, like, that the spite from that, most definitely, like, nobody ever asked me what I wanted to do.
Right.
Like,
it was only you.
I drove myself to all of my college visits.
Yeah.
You know, no one comes to visit me, you know, and, like, that's fine. You know, and I'm just happy that, like, I can see the other side.
Yeah. That you're there. You're getting there.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Do you ever feel like poetry says what psychology can't or shouldn't? Do you feel like there's parts that are like, this is only something that I can put in a poem, otherwise I would sound insane? I feel like that's an obvious yes to that question, but I won't.
Well, no, actually, I think, like, they're two, like, they can be a part of each other, but I don't think they exist very close together.
Yeah, I think they're two very different things.
Yeah,
it's just interesting
but
to see
you
the
can,
intersection.
yeah, oh, most definitely. I'd say they're friends.
Yeah.
I'd say poetry and psychology are friends. I don't know. Like, I do have some poems about, like, being stuck in your brain. like being stuck in like your dendritic spines or whatever, like just sitting in the synapse, hanging out. So we don't know where consciousness comes from in the brain. And I think that's really fucking fascinating because, like, where does it just come from?
Right.
Like, it's probably not, it's probably not going to be in, like, the back of the brain or, like, because so the four lobes of the brain, all right, you got your frontal lobe right here, you got your occipital, you got your occipital's in the back, your temporal, and then your parietal.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of these regions of the brain, they're responsible for, like, different things, but they can help each other out, you know, and do different things. Like, you use your temporal lobes for, like, hearing and, like, your hearing processing, but you also can't read without them. You can't remember what you're reading without them. So they help each other out, essentially. Yeah. You know, and you see, like, your occipital lobe, that's responsible for, like, your visual processing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got I don't know, the brain's just really fucking weird. Yeah. But through localization, they like kind of help each other out. Yeah. You know, there's different systems in the brain that are like responsible for different things. And one kind of theory that I like about trauma is, so you got your sympathetic nervous system and then you have your parasympathetic nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system is basically your automatic like fight or flight response. So when we're exposed to like a threatening stimuli, and you've had it before where, you know, your heart starts to beat really fast and you just feel scared. That's like the physiological symptoms of anxiety. That's the cortisol and is it norepinephrine, which is adrenaline, I think that's which one it was. The hormone, yeah, it's either adrenaline, well, it's epinephrine or norepinephrine. I can't fucking remember. I haven't taken a physiology class in years. But anyways,
either way.
So that kind of gets like elicited when you're in fear. And your parasympathetic nervous system is the kind of like calming effect that you get over your body. You know, the big deep breath that you take after something stressful and scary happens. But people who live in constant fear and anxiety, kind of like that dysregulated state, their systems don't shut down. Yeah. So they're going through the world just feeling like having all this extra chemicals in their body that are making them feel some type of way. And then when you live that way for so long, that becomes your reality. Like panic attacks, have you ever had a fucking panic attack? Like an actual panic attack? Let me tell you. I remember, you were there when I had that panic attack. In the car?
Oh, yeah.
On the way to Taylor's Falls? Yeah. I couldn't move my body. Yeah. You know, I couldn't, like, my jaw was locked. It was scary. It was, like, the most visceral experience I've ever fucking had. And people have those all the time, and that is just terrifying to me.
Like, all the time.
All the time. And it was so weird. I'm honestly so happy, like, a person in my position has had that experience. Right. Because I didn't know that, like, we talk about, like, somatoform disorders, so that's, like, some people feel their depression in their body. Okay. And your somatosensory system, that's in your parietal lobe, that's, like, how you feel sensations. And, like, taste, touch, all that stuff, it goes to your, whatever. But when we feel things in our body and we don't necessarily have, like, the right words to convey how we feel, then we're kind of like stuck in our own little bubble and we're not able to ask for help because we have limited insight into our situation. And I think that's kind of where poetry came in for me. Yeah. And I was able to finally like have a safe place to talk about the things that I write. And I think I think one of the first poems in here actually is a poem titled "Well, Now That No One Is Listening." Yeah. Yeah. And I just kind of talk about, like, what I would say to somebody, but I know they're not going to listen. Right. You know, they don't care to read it, but I'm still going to write it anyway, just because it needs to get out there. Out of your brain. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, in psychology, there's also, like, this dichotomy between, like, internalizing and externalizing, like, how we kind of, like, process everything that's kind of going on, how it manifests in life. But I'm definitely A fine mix of both. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm a verbal processor, but I also feel like I internalize a lot of my distress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I am a very high functioning person for what
goes on in your brain.
yes, what kind
Yeah.
of things I engage in, and that sounds so fucking bad. But no, for being clinically okay, I'm fucked up in the head a little. I've managed it pretty well.
Yeah.
I think, like, not all the time. I mean, life's not always gonna be fucking perfect.
Right.
Like, you're not always gonna be the best person. And I literally have that in the book too. I talk about, like, I try to be a good person, but sometimes, like, I just fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, everybody fucks up, but
We're
that's
human.
a part of the human experience. So,
Yeah.
I honestly kind of enjoy my fuck ups sometime because they give me perspective.
Learn something.
So our pineal glands are a really interesting part of our brain. It's like in the middle somewhere, but they actually release a little bit of DMT. Isn't that cool? Have you? I always thought that was pretty cool, and what I'm kind of really interested in is nightmares.
Yeah.
And no one's been able to tell me. I've asked so many people, like at school, in research settings, like, so when we have nightmares, is there just like an influx of DMT, like flooding into our brains? Is dreaming a conscious or an unconscious experience? And there's different kinds of dreaming. You can dream in third person, which I think is really interesting. There's lucid dreaming. Have you?
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, lucid dreaming is actually pretty interesting because I have crazy fucking dreams.
Yeah.
Like, I've had crazy dreams ever since I've been a little kid, and my dad has them too. But like, I talk to dead people in my dreams. Like, I did a kickflip in my dream the other day. I can't even fucking do a kickflip in real life. You know, so I just find it so fascinating. Like, what is it? Because I've always wanted to be able to do a kickflip.
Yeah.
But then I have dreams where I'm like stuck in a fucking car with my ex, and I like get out of the car, and then he picks me up again and like locks the door, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I? Like, this is like the worst fucking thing I could imagine happening to me. Or like people from my past like apologizing, and I'm kind of wondering, is that like my brain's way of trying to cope?
Right. Is it your brain's way of trying to just like have closure?
Right.
Almost?
Right. And
Also, they say that like dreams are because you're subconscious.
right.
Is this true? Do you know anything about that?
I think, yeah, that's kind of what I'm alluding to a little bit. Like, is it conscious or is it subconscious? There's a theory that suggests that there is a biological purpose for dreams, and it's like they serve as like a way to practice like stressful threat simulations.
Oh.
So you're in like a safe environment, and say like there's a robber near a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like, you get to act out what
Kinda
you would
play
do,
that out, yeah.
right?
But
Or like your fears. Yeah, one time I had a dream that I was being suffocated by a snake. I love snakes. I've never been scared of that in my life. And like, I also had a dream one time while I was listening to this Bigfoot podcast that like Bigfoot was there.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I'm also wondering, because we have 4 different stages of sleep.
Yeah.
And dreaming often happens in,
REM.
is it REM or is it non-REM? I don't even know.
I think it's REM, but I don't know for sure.
But I've noticed, like, when I'm about to come out of sleep, when you're coming back to, it's like the end of your 3rd stage of sleep. I'm like, I remember my dreams more, like when I'm almost awake.
Yeah.
I was really interested in doing like dream research, but they told me there'd never be any funding for it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Doing substances is really fucking bad for your brain, and I will say that. But it also, like, if it's making your environment better, you know, if you have killer anxiety, and they say that, like, some people when they smoke weed, it makes their anxiety worse just because of, like, the, like, maladaptive chemicals.
Yeah.
Or, like,
That's
maladaptive
what it's
behaviors. Like, yeah, I mean,
Like, I don't smoke weed
but
'cause it makes
for
me
for some
anxious.
people, like, it works.
Yeah.
And I'm
My
not-
sister.
yeah,
That's
I'm
again,
not
the
gonna-
opposite thing, because like I can't smoke weed because it makes me anxious as fuck. But for her, like, it calms her down.
Right, like, and I'm not gonna tell somebody, like, that's wrong, because
Right.
they're living in their experience, and that's not wrong to them. It could be wrong to me, but it's not my job, even with, like, the education and the background, to tell somebody that like their thought patterns are wrong.
Yeah.
Or like that's super fucking invalid, and I would never do that. Go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, go
Do
go
you
to
want
therapy.
to put anywhere they can buy that or email you to buy one or something?
Yeah, if you want one, you can send an email.
What's the email?
Or Instagram, email or Instagram. I don't have like a website or anything. I'd kind of just, yeah, it was.
Your Instagram handle on the screen.
Yeah, it was actually really fucking hard. Do poetry and go to therapy.
Poetry, go to therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, or just do fucking things that make you happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can do anything. Like, it could be going for a walk. It could be, like, drinking LaCroix. It could be plants. Me too, dude. I love LaCroix. But, just anything, anything that's fucking worth your time.
Yeah.
And I don't get to decide what's worth your time. Attica doesn't get to decide what's worth your time. You do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was our interview with Weiland.
Thank you.
So excited. Thank you.